なんとかなったみてえだな。畳みかける。これがスーパーサイヤ人3だ。
Alright, what's going on, you fam? Raiyuden here. I asked over on Twitter, how do you feel about part 1 of the celebration? I want to know how the community feels. I'll save my own judgment for the end of the video, but I think this celebration is a bit controversial, and I think I know why, but for now, I want to know what everyone else thinks. So let's go down the comment section. 8town Gaming says, feels a little bit higher than a monthly celebration. Having the Ultra Equipped Bonanza Frame 1 felt good, but there was nothing new introduced from a gameplay perspective. They really need a new mode or mechanic to make it feel fresh and revitalized. I think he nailed it. I'm someone on record of saying that this does feel like a monthly celebration, because if you break down the things that we got thus far, it feels no different than what we see any other month. You get a character or two. You'll maybe get an upgrade for equipment re-rolling, potentially a free-to-play character and or a Zankai and or a unique equip. It just doesn't feel like they stepped up the bar. And I think Goresh is on record as saying this too. The 6th-year anniversary was simply too grand. Could it be the 6th anniversary was simply an anomaly and that'll just never be surpassed? It'll so great that we'll never see anything go past that. I want to give Legends the benefit of the doubt and think they can do it. I'm not sure if this is just a transitionary period between producers still. I use that excuse for Festival. I figured that could be why it felt so lackluster. But yeah, I agree. I really don't think anything was that great here. If you ask me, I think Anniversary and Festival should never have any old mechanics for any of their characters. I think those two should be like a tech demo for what they were working on throughout the year. They always have to up the ante. That's how these gacha games work no matter what. They have to make it so this character a couple months later is going to be better than this character several months prior, because why else would you summon for them? And new mechanics is one of those things. And for the anniversary where you're supposed to celebrate the game and its community and everything, you should be doing something a little bit more. So seeing two transforming characters with mechanics we've already seen before. I know MUI's gimmick is exclusive to MUI, but I would have hoped they've done something a little bit more. But for Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta, the level up gauge is really just a glorified Evoken gauge. It's the same thing. It's a gauge that fills up faster, and then you net some sort of benefit. But for Vegeta's gauge, even his, I don't know, even what he nets is not that amazing. It's not that revolutionary. He just gets a little bit more damage and a couple more cards. A little disappointing if you ask me. Two safe picks, two transforming picks. I don't know why Legends continues to try to play it safe. I don't think they should. I would much prefer if Legends chose characters that I guess on paper would not be that exciting, but they went the extra mile with what they do. Legends Festival last year proved to us that it doesn't matter how unique or how cool the character is on paper. If they do something that nobody really cares for, or it's plain or boring, they're not going to care. Vegito is just an anti-gauge guy, sure. And then Goku Black was just a defensive gauge guy, sure. Sword of Hope Trunks equivalent, and honestly, transforming Vegeta Blue was an insult to Assault Chain, making Gogeta Blue feel useless. Part of the reason why the 6th-year anniversary feels so amazing is two things. We got a new in-game mechanic being fusing, but both of those fusions had their own unique abilities. The Rising Rush nullification thing, where you cannot be gassed and you still deal damage, as toxic as that was, it was still something new to a character. Assault Chain is a really cool mechanic. They just didn't implement it well. Though that's why the 6th-year anniversary felt so amazing. So I don't know. I don't know what Legends is going to do. I don't want to rip on them too hard yet because it is still part 1, but the damage is sort of done. If you don't have a strong opener, it doesn't matter how great your part 2 and part 3 will be. People feel the disappointment of part 1 throughout the entire celebration. So fingers crossed part 2 and or part 3 have something unique to them. They did say that a lot of the major updates are tied to those parts. So who knows? Maybe we'll see something unique. Spicy Blanco says, Legends Fest all over again, part 1. Where are the events? That is also another thing. Outside of the story event and the raid, It doesn't really feel like we're doing too many things. I guess I can give them credit for the team flight or team instant transmission event that they got going on, but otherwise it just doesn't really feel like there's much to do. If you know, I know for these games the new characters are sort of the content, but I feel like the anniversary is where you should do something above so that it doesn't have to feel that way. Take away Goku and Vegeta. Let's say you did not pull those two characters. What are you doing? What are you celebrating in the anniversary? You're probably not celebrating much. Maybe just the 7th code for the web store. That's about it. It's a little disappointing. Abu says, feels a bit dry, and there's more going on. There's social media campaigns and things to do in-game. Like, where's the second raid? That is another thing, but I guess part of the issue is they started the anniversary not on their regular reset cycle. That could be part of the reason why. I agree, though. I don't think an anniversary should ever have dry periods. There shouldn't be a time where it's like, okay, what am I going to do? Oh, I got one free-to-play character for the entire week. That's nice. I got one unique equip for the entire, reset period. That's cool. It shouldn't feel like this. It should feel like there's more to do. They should always up the ante. Playbox says, it's okay, nothing crazy, but not completely bad. Characters are great. Super Saiyan Blue Evolve could have been better. And banners are amazing. Glad we finally got a new summon animation, but overall just wish there was something new gameplay-wise to really make it great. And I agree. 1800 Z power for the banners is without a doubt an amazing thing. No doubt about it. But again, if you don't pull any of the characters, you don't care about 1800 Z power. You're still screwed. And not only that, characters are great this is just my own bias. I don't think MUI was fun to release. I don't know. I know he's a hype character, but I just don't like the gameplay that he translates to. That's what I don't like. I just think he spells for a bad time in PvP. I don't like the gameplay that he generates. That's just me. I know other people like him, but I feel like this guy, they went too far and they didn't think about the consequences of it. And the number one thing to counter with these MUI characters has always been just initiate with like a quick attack or a tap attack or something along those lines. But they gave this guy a counter in green. I don't know. If you're going to make new characters, and I don't know, if you're not going to make the new characters do unique things, at least make them fun to deal with. I don't really have issues with Super Saiyan Blue Evolve Vegeta, but if you're going to make the anniversary feel stale, and you're going to make the new characters obnoxious to face, it just makes the negative feelings towards the anniversary far more amplified. Right now, the number one thing I see people praising is a new summon animation, and that should never be the case. I get it, Cell Max, Beast Gohan, Kamehameha, that's fine and all, but that should not be the highlight of your whole anniversary. But I do agree, there should be something new gameplay-wise. I already know a lot of people told me about the data mines that are happening with the unique data entries and what that translates to. My fear with that is the community has this problem where they'll generate expectations out of nothing, and then when the expectation is not met because it was never intended to, they get very disappointed. So a lot of people think ground battles are happening. I'm not saying they aren't, and I'm not dismissing what the data mines are saying, but I would be I wouldn't want to set the expectation that part 2 is going to have that, because if it doesn't, then people are going to be like, oh, what the hell, it should have been ground battles, even though nothing implied that. They never announced anything like that. Vintre says, Cell Max summon animation, cool, but should have been disabled. Super Saiyan Bardock, Broly temporarily. I agree. I've seen so many people say that they went like 50, 60, 70k CC and they never saw it. I never saw it. You guys were there for my summons. They didn't go that great. I didn't see this. The only new summon animation I saw was the little orb flicking through the screen. I think Dugo got it as well. I pressed the skip button and then a flick, and then I got a new character. Cool, but I never saw Cell Max. And I think Virgil went 70 plus K and he didn't see it either. I guess 0.0000001% of people are going to see it, which sucks. New units. Super Saiyan Blue Evolve should have been better. 1% are fantastic. The bias that they have for MUI Goku could not be more clear. Vegeta is supposed to be the tank guy, hence why he has the higher damage guard, hence why he kills 2 cards. Why is Goku the one that has the beast effect of making costs increased? Why is the auto countering guy the dude with the auto defensive evasive maneuver gauge? Why is he the one with a countering green, right? And why is he the one that stacks damage? It should have been Vegeta for all these things, but they didn't. There's more defensive mechanics on the guy that's not meant to be than the guy that is supposed to be. Very silly. Rewards are amazing, but lacking new mechanics and general hype puts it behind 6th Anniversary Part 1. Without a doubt, I think the 6th Anniversary still remains undefeated. Sakashi says, the summon animation with Beast Gohan and MBY Goku vs. Cell Max is currently carrying the hype for the 7th Anniversary. Shout out to the devs for the extra Chrono Crystals too, but man, bare bones, same old leak. 7 out of 10. Sorry, bare bones, same old, plus the leak. 7 out of 10 so far. There's no denying they're being very generous with the Chrono Crystals. I'm not going to deny that. But I agree. There is not much going on. The number one thing being a new summon animation, because it's the newest thing, is kind of sad for your super anniversary. I also had people tell me that them saying hashtag super anniversary wasn't them saying it's going to be a very big, well, amazing celebration, but instead it was them saying all of our characters are going to come from Super. No matter how you look at it, it's going to look bad on them. If that's the way they try to use that hashtag, then they're just setting themselves up for no reason. Why would you say that? Because people are going to interpret it as you gassing up the anniversary. Why the hell would you say, oh, this just means it from Super? I don't think that's the case, but this is not very reflective of a Super anniversary. Sai Sarah says, pretty meh. Feels like a regular celebration. Not really an anniversary so far, and certainly not the biggest one. I agree. Woo! Ooh. Says, great. The only thing missing are mechanics, but I prefer simpler things like anti-seals instead of experimenting with mechanics or formats on the anniversary. Because the times they did that, Assault Chain and Goku and Bardock banner happened. What's the issue with Assault Chain? I think Assault Chain was pretty damn cool. I think that was a welcome addition to the game. It was a little bit controversial. I was on record saying it's almost better that they made it underpowered than overpowered because it completely dismissed every defensive mechanic in the game. The counter gauges in the game existed because everybody had too much cover null and too much free combo potential. If Assault Chain was overpowered and Gogeta was blitzing everyone with one spam of strike cards, what's the answer going to be at that point? I don't really know. So at the time, I think I was more on the side of it's better that it's underpowered, but granted, now I do think he deserves a unique equip because that guy never had his time in the sun. He never had a chance to shine, rather. And he's a very cool character. The Goku and Bardock banner, I 100% agree. Probably the worst banner I ever summoned on. I think I went 100k plus CC, and I had to pity the damn Goku and Bardock. That was awful. I agree. That was awful. But I think they should stick to experimenting with mechanics, less so formats for the banner. But otherwise, I guess I agree. Honestly, I love it. I'm not too picky, so I'm fine with it. Just happy I can enjoy the game for its 7th anniversary. A glass half full kind of view. I'm grateful that the game has been around for 7 years. I can respect that. Honestly, I like the characters. Banners, 1800 Z power. The CC to grind, Ultra Bonanza. I think the second major update plus the part 2 will be insane. My only complaint is this week is dry. Like they could have dropped the unique for Goku and Frieza this week instead and made the raid reset on Friday. One thing I want to note, I can't help but feel the difference in opinion comes from when you started the game. If you're somebody that's been here since day one and you've seen so many different anniversaries, I think your expectation is a bit higher that they just do a better job of things, especially when it comes to the development of the characters. But if you're somebody that started a year or two ago, maybe even a couple months ago, you've never seen like a new transforming character of this caliber. So to you, it's new and it's fun and you don't care. But if you're somebody who's been around since the 4th year anniversary, then you've already seen what MUI does. You've already seen an evil Vegeta. You've already seen tons of transforming characters. So to you, it's old. But to the newer player, it's still fresh. That's what I think is what's going on here. And I also think Legends knows that, so they think they can get away with it almost. It almost feels like they are trying to cater this anniversary to a new audience. They're trying to cater towards newer players. The whole giant Blitz Chrono Crystal pack for people that's coming back to the game, all the CC, the way that the characters are designed, like... It almost feels like their attention is dedicated to them, not to veteran players. Now, I have seen people say, "Hey, you know, you're giving these new players or returning characters 7,000 Chrono Crystals. What about us that have been here since day one?" That 7K CC is just for them to get a head start back to the game. If you've been playing since that entire time, you should have way more CC than them. We get like 13K on a bad month for this game. You should be doing way better than that. So that's what I think. I honestly think Festival and this anniversary, the entire attention is just for new characters. New players. So transforming characters, they don't care. They're okay to see it. That's fine with them. Leo, if they didn't make any new mechanics for characters, we should have had a new event type or a new PvP mode or something to break it up. PvP sucks right now with the passive play upsurge and constant crashing and banning people a ton of hours, and we need difficult content in the events. I think that's another thing with them increasing the demand of devices. They basically cut off a percentage of the player base, and people wanted to see what that was for. Having the higher demand, well, what justified it? And so far, nothing. We got the new UI update, but nothing really PvP wise. Again, maybe that's what part 2 is going to have. Maybe part 3 is going to have it, something to justify it. But I do agree. So far, we haven't seen anything come out of it. That's another thing. If they didn't make any new mechanics for the characters, we should have had a new event type. This is a different way to phrase, if they weren't spending time developing new mechanics for characters, what were they doing with the time dedicated to the anniversary? And that is a good point. That's another reason why we're so critical of transforming characters. They're kind of just... We've seen them time and time again. They're nothing new. I know when you want to up the bar, you got to put a lot more work to it. If they're not going to do it for the characters, what are they dedicating it to? If it's your Super 7th anniversary, where is that time and attention to make it a Super 7th anniversary going if it's not the characters? Characters are kind of the backbone for these celebrations, especially for gacha games. So if you're going to do that, I mean, if you're going to... I don't want to say not put 100% effort to it, but if you're gonna spare yourself the effort of introducing a new mechanic, then where is that extra work going to? I guess that's totally fair. I don't want to take away from how well those characters are animated, because no doubt about it, they look great. Especially MEY Goku. Holy crap, he looks amazing. But there are some repeat animations, no doubt about that. There are some repeat mechanics too to make life easier, like Goku's auto dodge, which without a doubt is the hardest part. We haven't seen where the effort is going so far. Again, part 2, part 3 may be clutch, but who knows? It was alright. Evil felt lacking in comparison to transforming MEY. I agree. Definitely should have made Evil stronger. I agree 100%. Jay says, so you dropped part 1 of the 6-year anniversary, thus setting a tone precedent with new mechanics in the Synchro Gauge, Vegito's Rising Rush, and Gogeta's Assault Chain. And from that very point until now, history speaks for itself. UI and Evil are cool characters, but that's it. Yep. I really was hoping what the trend was going to be is that each year they get better and better. 4th year anniversary was a complete stinker, and even though Dragon Fist Goku dropped there, I still think 4th year anniversary was a stinker. 5th year anniversary was amazing. What a way to smoke it out of the water. What a way to redeem yourself. 6th year anniversary stomped 5th year anniversary bar none. So 2 years in a row, you keep upping the bar, you keep doing better and better. Holy crap, Legends, you now have a track record of making your anniversaries fantastic. I can't wait for the 7th anniversary. Hashtag Super 7th anniversary. The number 7 numerically for Dragon Ball means a great deal. 7 Dragon Balls. Oh my goodness, it's going to be magical. They've been talking about it for a whole year. Even around 6th anniversary, they've been talking about 7th anniversary. I can't wait. And we got MUI Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta with reused animations, kind of reused models. They changed the face, and we have no new mechanics for it. Ooh, that stinks. I'm not even gonna say this. The the community may set a bar that they would never meet. I'm not going to say that. This is just something that's, I guess, is sort of expected. I don't know. It's definitely not the strongest part 1. What celebration? Nah, but for real though, the very first reset week being dead isn't really helping the case for our super anniversary over here. I'm sure everyone has put in enough of their 2 cents by the headliners to make $1,000. So please, part 2, save us. Yeah, I think everyone shares the same sentiment. A lot of people, the majority of people, find that it's still dry and boring, and like any other monthly celebration, you know, 1 week apart we stretch our free to play, 1 week later we have a Zenkai, you know, then a week later we get the new characters, and then 1 week later we get something else. It just definitely feels like that. There's nothing going on that feels like this is a super anniversary. So I agree. I mean, let me pull anything so I can say, see, exactly. If you don't have the new characters, what are you enjoying? What are you celebrating? I feel bad for you, buddy. Hopefully you pull the characters. But either way, I feel like a lot of people are agreeing for the same thing. They're agreeing with the same thing. It just doesn't feel that crazy. Love the character choices, but still disappointed. So ultimately, it feels like an average celebration. It could have been better. Sure, the character choices were cool, but it just feels like what they did was not enough to reflect this super anniversary. So we'll see how well they do. Surely part 2 will be amazing. We're going to be seeing Revival UI, Zenkai Awakening, which I guess can be exciting for the character. But the fear then becomes, if we have 2 really great UIs, one of them is a Revival character, then now we got to deal with 2 UI auto-dodging passive boy Gokus, which sounds like awfulness. Sounds terrible. So either way, you let me know in the comment section below how you feel. But until next time, guys, peace.